Hey, everybody, this is Stages Podcast. This is the podcast that bridges the generational gap between baby boomers, millennials, and everything in between. I'm Mary, and I'm a baby boomer.
I'm Lorena, and I'm a millennial.
I'm Zach, and I'm everything in between.
Hey, guys.
And today on Stages, we are focusing on Mary and her baby boomer journey that has led her to a new exciting project she just launched on April 1st called Brave Her.
Yeah.
Woohoo! Yeah.
All right. Yeah, thank you. I'm so excited. Like Lorena said, I just launched it April 1. It's something I've been thinking about for a couple of years, and it was time to launch, and April 1 was the date. I'm so excited to talk about it, guys.
Cool. Yeah, I'm really excited because to give y'all a little background story of what I know, originally this idea and project Mary had was for a book that she was going to call Fear Not, right?
That's right.
And Mary had talked to me about it, and she was photographing different women, like portrait photography, and I filled out a questionnaire that was like, what do you fear? Which I really enjoyed, just as self-reflective, realizing how intense our fears are. And then, a few months ago, Mary was like, I'm changing it and I'm going with this logo she had sent me and everything. But other than that, I don't know anything other than your Instagram, which everyone can check out, is at Brave Hers. And like when I came across it the other day, I was like, wait, what? They're just like launching this whole thing. So give us the full scoop, Mary. Like, I'm so excited. What's going on?
Oh, yeah. So this is what's going on. And everybody, Lorena is a part of one of my Brave Hers. So she's part of my Brave Her tribe. So what I'm doing is I'm looking for women in the world that just really, blaze their own trail and, just do their best to live their full potential. And when I started, it was called Fear Not. And so many women loved it. They were like, oh my gosh, I love it. I love exploring the fears. But I changed the name to Brave Her because I thought we're really brave to expose our fears. And so a lot of women, that's one of the questions is, what is your greatest fear? And you think about it and you ponder it and you think how to get past your fears. Um, so I've had a lot of amazing ladies that have been a part of it. And I did my 7-day countdown, launched it April 1. I started it off. I thought that was only, apropos that I would be the first one to say my fear. And then we're going to do Matriarch Mondays. Somebody that has been a trailblazer in the past that's passed away, but has still left such a legacy for all of us to inspire to. And so we have that part of it.
Nice. So you've kind of launched with like the community aspect of it, right? Through Instagram and being able to form a community there where all these women can kind of come together and have this communal experience of sharing your fear and your vulnerability as a way to be courageous and brave.
Absolutely.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, and also a community for women that, for example, for women to relate to. Like, oh my gosh, I've had that fear for so long, and that's really nothing. And so kind of it puts fear in a back seat, like, hey, we all have it. Fear is a part of life, but it's not going to keep me down. And that's kind of the community part that I like about it is women can say like, oh my gosh, yes, I've had like fear of, for example, like rejection. But when you realize that you have a fear of rejection and you move past that fear, you realize that rejection is actually a good thing because you're living outside of your boundaries and you're going out in the world and you're living your fullest potential. So,
yeah.
And those kind of things just make you stronger. Rejections and, you know, you move through it.
So what was like your original like what gave you the original idea? Like what was the moment that you were like, I'm going to create this community and what
Oh my gosh, I can remember it so perfectly, Lorena. Um, I was actually at a sound bath meditation at one of my friend's flats, and we were going to meditate for like an hour. There was probably about 12 women there, and we just did this nice sound bath, and they're like, okay, let's meditate for an hour. And I'm like, wow, that's in my head. I'm like, that's a long time
yeah,
to sit and meditate, like especially with 12 women, because we all love to talk,
people.
right?
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, well, I've got an hour here. I'm going to settle in. I'm going to just get to it. And it was actually during that hour that all of a sudden I just hear this, like, I'm just thinking about it. And I'm thinking, I guess it was the community of women that I'm around. And I just felt this really strong essence of women and power and empowerment. But I also felt like sometimes women, we can't be as authentic as we want to be. And I think through all that, all of a sudden, I just heard this word like "go." And I'm like, "Go? Okay. What does that exactly mean? Like, what is this telling me?" And that's when I just came up with the idea of like, "Hey, let's go. Let's take this great community of women and just be vulnerable and uplift each other and say, oh, fear sits in the back seat." So, and that was like March, let's see, that was probably March 2019. And in that time, I've photographed, as
Wow.
you know, you were one, I've photographed about 20 women so far. And then the pandemic hit
That's
and it slowed
awesome.
down pretty much, you know,
Yeah.
photographing a lot of people, but it also gave me some good time to kind of lay out this different part instead of fear not of a Brave Her tribe and a Brave Her community.
Cool. So you're starting cuz are you still planning to do a book with everything that you're
I
collecting
am.
from these women?
That is
You
my
are.
end
Yeah.
game is the book. But for right now,
Okay.
I'm launching the Instagram site.
Yes, which I think is awesome. It's like just the first spark, kind of fanning the flames and letting them grow a little bit, and then the
Mhm.
book is like the full bonfire. You let
Absolutely.
it grow a little bit. Yes.
Yeah, the book is gonna be like the flame. The book is gonna be the
Yeah.
trophy that you sit on your coffee table.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's just gonna be, like, so inspiring. I'm so excited. I've got so many women on my list that I'm gonna be reaching out to. So, it's a
Yeah.
fun project. I'm having a great time with it.
And I love that you changed the name from Fear Not to Brave Her, because I don't know, years ago, I had read have y'all ever read that book, The Happiness Advantage?
I
No.
haven't.
I don't even know who the author is, I can't remember, but I just will always remember he talks about how, like, with children or anybody, but you see it with children most when you tell them not to do something, all they wanna do is do it, and he uses the
Mhm.
example of, like, if they're carrying, like, a cup of coffee and it's full and they'll say, "Walk over there, but do not spill it." You're really setting them up for failure because then they're going to spill it, versus if you
Mhm.
use the positive connotation of keep all the coffee in the cup, then they're focusing on that task of keeping all the coffee in the
Mhm.
cup and are most likely to succeed then, and how we kind of set ourselves up and each other up for failure and deny ourselves happiness for easy, simple tasks and ways of living because of our negative language that makes us focus on the wrong thing. And like
Mhm.
with fear not, I think it is more powerful, fear not, than like, don't be fearful, obviously, like,
Mhm.
but it's so different saying like, do not fear versus like, be brave. Like,
Mhm.
go forward and be brave is like,
Mhm.
I love that. And having the butterfly as your symbol, I think that's so, it's
Mhm.
like, coming out of the caterpillar, like that takes
Mhm.
bravery, like surely
Mhm.
that caterpillar's scared, like what they are. I don't know. But
Yeah,
what a
right.
brave transformation to go out and shine and fly around and be that
Mhm.
butterfly in the world.
Yes. Yeah, thank you, thank you. It's funny because, like, fear not, it never sat with me well, Like, I
Mm,
would approach women and they were like, "Oh, I love this, it's so great," but just the title Fear Not, I was still like, "Mm," and as Zach well knows, I did a lot of different names. I kept playing around with names and playing around, and finally, I just was like, "Wow," like braver, like, we're trying to be braver in this world. I was like, "Ah, brave, her." And yeah, and then the butterfly and my good friend, Uni actually helped me with my logo, and she was the one that was kind of talking about butterflies and transformations, and I was like, "Yeah, that's right. That's so perfect." And it's
mhm.
just like you said, like your example that you were giving about always putting positive spins on things is, do you want to be like a tribe member of, like, Fear Not, or would you rather be like a brave her? I mean, let's all be
Yes.
brave hers, right?
Yes. It's like, what do we wanna focus on? Not the fear. Like, why wait, we wanna focus on our bravery. Yeah.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Which fear is a
Yeah,
component of, but that's not what's in the spotlight. Like,
exactly, yeah. Yeah, so I guess that was kind of, I guess that could be our butterfly moment, right?
yes.
The name change. Right
And
on.
I think too, Mom, you're open to photographing women. Like, isn't that the idea? Like that if somebody wants to be a part of the project, they can. I think they just contact you, and then as long as they're agreeing
Mhm.
to kind of like answer the questionnaire and their photo gets published and everything like that, like you can come and you can be a part of the project.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're all about a great community of positive women. So we are looking for those positive women out there that, shine their light and make their corner of the world a little bit brighter. So if you know any like really strong, powerful women that have been an influence on you and that you look up to, like give them a shout out. Let me know.
It's a
I
really
love
cool
that.
project. Like I'm
Yeah.
so happy that you're doing this, Mom, especially cuz I guess I've also like been coming more and more aware, excuse me, more and more aware of like I don't know, like it's harder to be a woman than it is to be a man in the world. I guess I never really I mean, that's is it true? I think it's
I
true.
know.
Like I
In
mean,
some way, I think putting yourself out there, like, for the line of work you're in, Zach, I do think so, but I wouldn't say in every situation that's true, but,
yeah,
um,
so I should be clear what I'm
yeah,
trying to say here. Just in general, we live in a men's world.
yeah.
We
Mhm.
have men in charge. Men are just automatically assumed to be, more this or that, and it's from our history as human
Mhm,
beings. I mean, go back thousands and thousands of years,
Mhm.
with very notable exceptions. For
Mhm.
the most part, men have been working and women have been taking care of children and cooking
mhm.
and cleaning, and
Mhm.
have been sold off as children to be wives of older, richer men.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It has not been a women's world, and I mean that's changing right now, but we're
Mhm.
still fighting off against so much history. And I, I guess I was older when I started to really realize, like, wow, like, my friends who are women have like experienced things that I've never had to experience.
Mhm.
Like there's a lot, and I
Yeah,
think that this project really highlights all of the experience of women. It's awesome.
totally.
Like I'm really happy that you're working on this. I think it's so cool, and I can't wait to see. I mean, I've seen all of the photography you've done so far, but I can't wait to see the more photography that comes out of it.
Yeah, what's coming ahead. I'm so excited about that too because also it gives me a chance to just sit down with women and talk to them and I love that. I love that connection. So, and Zach, you brought up about a man's world, and it was I posted for Jane Goodall's birthday, and she was um she was a trailblazer in the
Mhm.
fact that she was the first one that went to study. She couldn't even be a primatologist. It was a completely male dominated field in the
Yeah.
1950s. And at the encouragement of her mother, which is very rare in those days, she was like, "You've got to go do that." And so, that's a shout out for Jane, for us.
It's so true. Dang. Yeah. And what you said, Zach, too, about like it is I feel like it's hard because there's like pros and cons, but I'm reading this book recently called Chillpreneur, and it's this Australian business owner, and she writes about how she tried so many different business plans or like ways of like, if you want to be a millionaire, like you must wake up at 4 a.m. and take clients and da 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 and all this stuff and all this stuff. And it's such good timing because I did like a marketing course over the summer that's like very hardcore, this whole like, this is how you need to run Facebook ads and blah, blah, blah. And like, I just couldn't see it through because I was like, I did it for a while and I was like, this just feels wrong. This is not the way that I want to connect to fans and connect to people. And then this book, The
Mhm.
Chillpreneur, she kind of talks about how so much of our business models have been built out of like patriarchy and in a man's world of how men operate and what fulfills men for productivity and success. But as a
Ah.
woman, she's found of like there's such a different energy involved with a business plan that fits the emotional needs and kind of
Mhm.
conscious, like our consciousness about things that fit a woman are so different than a man. And like a woman, some women do, but many women, it doesn't like your life is never going to be where you have the same morning routine every day. So you wake up at 4 a.m. every day. Like there's going to be periods you're having
Mhm.
kids, or maybe you're not, or,
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
our lives are less mechanical naturally with
Mhm.
our cycles and stuff than a man. And
Mhm.
so, like, molding her business to deal with her cycle, to deal with, all of those things like that, even just in the last month, has been like blowing my mind of like, it's weird because everything like I've ever been told about success is to do with, the grind, which is such a male energy. But there's women who have found great success with just kind of going with the flow of things. And, I think that's cool because with this Fear Not, like I
Mhm.
remember when you first told me about it, and I so respect that you've just let it flow and you're taking your
Mhm.
time and you're seeing how it goes. And when it's time
Mhm.
to launch, you've now launched, but it's been a few years and it's no big deal to you. And you're like doing
Mhm.
pictures as they come. Cause I feel like anytime I get an idea, I'm like, oh, I have to plan it out 3 years in advance. This is what's going to happen, blah, blah, blah. And
Mhm.
it's like,
Right?
none of it ever comes to be, and I'm unhappy during the process. And I feel like you, Mary, are such a personification of just like the female energy of how to go about creativity, business, seeing something through, like such a perfect
Mhm.
balance of it will like seeing the goal, knowing it's going to happen, but being open
Mhm.
to the how and finding fun and love throughout the process of getting there. And I just think this whole community that you've launched is totally that. It's
Wow.
awesome.
Thank you. That's really
Wow.
what I wanted to do. I wanted it to be fun and full of love, and I wanted it to kind of take on its own life. I didn't wanna, put it into a mold and say, "This is what I'm doing," because I wanted to
Mhm.
keep expounding and let it get more creative and let it get even better, and I think a lot of times I love that book. I wanna put that in our show notes that you were talking about, the
Chillpreneur.
Chillpreneur. Yeah, let's
Mm.
put that in our show notes because that sounds so interesting, and yeah, I think a lot of times our ideas we just get too uptight about, and if you let it just flow and chill, you know, and feel the love on it and just have like so much fun, that it really comes to a great fruition.
Totally. Yes.
So
Awesome.
that's what I
Well, I
got.
hope that yes, it's an awesome project. Everyone, if you're on Instagram, you can check out Mary's project at Bravehers. Hers. That's all one. And check that out. And we'll obviously keep you posted here on the show with, new comings, new posts, new people that she's featuring. And obviously, one day when that book is launched, we'll be letting you know about that too. So make sure you subscribe and comment below. And congratulations, Mary, on the big launch. It's so exciting. Can't wait to see what
Thank
happens.
you. Thanks so much, Lorena. Thanks so much, Zach.
Yeah, absolutely. Congrats on the big launch.
Thanks, guys. All right. Well, we'll keep you updated. It was so great talking about this. And we will see you next week here on Stages.
Woo, woo. Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.